Let's roll, baby.
All right. Hopefully, and I say that a lot, I say that very loosely because inevitably, when I think I'm getting close to having something done, I find 3.5 billion things that I didn't anticipate. But the plan is to make this probably about one of the last videos on this truck. I'm hoping that I can drive it out of the garage, at least around the block. You know, there's going to be some shakedown crap, but I'm hoping to have the seats in it, the headlights working, the taillights working, all the patina blended in. As you can see, where I shaved the antenna hole, I layered it with dark brown and tan and white and brown and tan and white and red primer and everything. So hopefully I can scuff some of that back, Scotch-Brite some of that back, and it won't just be a bright white section here. Same thing with the bed. I was going to leave it how it was, but you could see where I'd cut it, how the patina didn't match, so I painted it, you know, white and dark brown and layered it a whole bunch. And I'm going to try to Scotch-Brite some of it down, lightly sand some of it down. That's not a big deal, but the interior I got to figure out. The interior is going to be an issue. And same thing with over here where I worked on the hood. I painted some white, some red, and some white, some red, and I'm going to try to make it match the faded part over here where the red was bleeding through. So, but anyway, I got sidetracked already. This is the original Ford seat, and I might have to try to make that one work. I still have the Crown Vic bucket seats, and don't get me wrong, but I think bucket seats in a truck are kind of gay. I think an old-timey truck like this, you always got to have a bench seat. Who doesn't love a bench seat? But if I have to, I mean, it would be really easy for me to just bolt the Crown Vic seats back up because that's still the Crown Vic floor. Then I got to try to figure out how to hide the dash and make it look, you know, the instrument cluster is going to be what it is, but I'm going to try to build a piece in here, maybe try to use the original piece and cut new holes or whatever so those gauges line up. And I'm going to run some ductwork. I at least want a defrost. I don't really care about anything else, but you know, early in the morning or late in the evening or something, out cruising, it would be nice to have a defrost at minimum. Other than that, you know, there's cosmetic stuff like in here where I got to do a little bit of body work and blend some paint in there. That other door's still blue on the inside, but it's came a long way, and hopefully I can get it put back together, running. I still got to do, at some point, I don't need to do it to be able to drive it around the block, but I want to do like the inner fenders. I can't drive it and have water spraying up all over everything on the inside and frying everything out. And then I'll have to figure out a bed. A buddy of mine suggested doing like a tonneau cover, which would be way easier than building at least a fake wooden bed in here. But I kind of like the look of a wooden bed, even if it's only going to be, you know, 10 inches of depth in the bed, because I'd probably have to put it right on top of those fenders and figure out how to seal that crap up. But also, like in the last video, to get my spare tire, or to get my tire out, if I ever had to put a spare on, I have to lift the bed up because it's just so freaking low to the ground. And I'm going to have to figure something out where I can get to the bed bolts in case of an emergency. And I'm keeping, you know, the trunk and everything in here as some storage, spare tire, you know, some tools. So I thought about making a section of the bed, like the center part that opens up, rigging up something like that. But like I said, that's stuff that can come later. I want to get it running and driving. Headlights, taillights working, stuff like that. basically street legal, and then go back and worry about the silly crap like the wipers. I'll still need to figure out how to wire that up with the old. I want to use the old wiper switch, and I don't know. Like as I'm speaking about how close I am to getting this thing driving, I'm realizing how far I am from getting this thing done. But anyway, hopefully this is one of the last videos on this thing. I still plan on doing a breakdown of how I built this truck with no money. So other than that, hopefully, man, I've said hopefully a lot, but I plan on driving this thing. Tired of nobody wants to watch me do body work, sand body filler and spray paint stuff, but I am digging how the truck's looking. Hey, I'm up here. But seriously, check this out. Got me some new headlights for the unit. I wanted to keep this old style headlight, and a lot of the newer ones I've seen were stupid LED blue or like clear, boring, and I like the look of the old school ones. So what I ended up doing is I actually bought an adapter to adapt the old, or the Crown Vic wiring harness to the old style 3-prong bulb. So I was all excited. I figured, well, I'll just order 2 new bulbs and go about my business. So those showed up, and then I don't know how, somehow I came across these that actually accept the newer style bulbs. So it's not a 3-prong deal. You can actually put the Crown Vic bulb in here. Pretty cool. So that should simplify everything, just to be able to run these headlights in there. So don't have much time today to do much, but I thought I can at least try to make it look a little better and put some headlights in. Let's give it a go. Can anybody explain why these old school Craftsman screwdrivers are like the best screwdrivers ever made? Man. Anyway. Yeah, boy. How much better does that look? Oh yeah. It's weird how much of a difference it makes from it looking like a piece of crap project truck to a completed project by just having headlights in it. Man. Looks like a truck now. I like it. Now, let's find the Crown Vic bulbs. I don't know if I'm going to have time to mess with it anymore today, but hopefully next time I'm here, I can put the bulbs in it. If I can find them amongst all the clutter. This is way better than that Chevy seat. I like it. I really like this seat in there compared to the OBS seat that I had. This is the original F100 seat, as you can see. Pretty jacked up. But it's way lower. Didn't have a whole lot of time to work on stuff today, but I did a little bit of blending that patina. I did put this little trim piece back on. That's all stuff I didn't really feel like was worth recording, but aside from going around and blending the patina, just getting that seat in there and giving me something else to think about for a couple days when I'm at work. I like it. So I think I can get this mounted and then order a seat cover, and nobody will ever know how crappy that seat is. But I like it. Hopefully in a couple days I can come back and get some more work done. Anyway, as you can see, I moved the old Ford. It sat there for months and months, and now it's sitting here. I had an issue. It always started, and then I had done a bunch of work and did a bunch of welding and cut a bunch of crap out, a bunch of body work, and I thought, well, I'll move it up a little bit, clean it out up underneath of where all the sanding dust and chunks of rust and stuff had fallen under the truck. I thought, I'll pull it up, clean it out, and then it wouldn't start. So that was like a week ago. So I've been thinking about it. It didn't seem like it was getting any fuel. So messed with it, checked my relay, checked my fuses. I unhooked the actual hose off the fuel filter down there, since it's nice and easy to get to. And I was right, it wasn't getting any fuel. So messed with a bunch of crap, Googled stuff, looked up crap on YouTube, trying to see how to diagnose this thing, and I ended up accidentally figuring it out. This piece right here, well, it had a ground wire that went screwed in right there, and this was just sitting in the back where the trunk used to be. Well, for some reason, I must have got incredibly lucky all the other times it just started up, because I was moving that around and I touched it up here, and then gas started spewing out of my fuel filter. So I was like, okay, easy, it's a ground. So I ended up drilling a new hole and putting the ground in here, and now it runs good.
Hey, look, you just shut your pie hole and keep working.
All right, I made 2 of these to sit in there to be able to set the seat on and bolt the seat down to. Miscalculated a little bit on my measurement. I'll show you what I'm talking about over here. as you can see, I put this little step in here, and then I planned on, right now I just got this tack welded back here, but it's a little close to my steering wheel. Not a lot of room. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this little fancy thing I made off, and that should lower it down a couple inches, which might not be enough yet. I might have to go a little more than that, because I don't know if, you know, 2 inches here is really gonna make that much of a difference, but I can always, there's a little radius here in the hump in the floor. I can always cut that up in here and end up going as high up as here if I need to, and basically setting that on the floor. And same thing back here, I can step that down and maybe build some brackets, some gussets down here. They would hang down below if I need to weld that to get it lower. I don't know, we'll see.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What's you saying? Yeah, meow.
Well, I'm back again.
Well, I'm back again.
I am going to redo what I did yesterday. Well, kinda. I'm gonna take the seat out, cut that down, like I pointed out when I was here. A little too high there in the front. I made it taller on purpose because it's easier for me to cut some stuff down than to add material, but I didn't realize it was gonna be that high. So, I'm gonna cut off down here. Try again. Well, I cut that little step off, and it helped a lot. I can squeeze in there. But I don't really like it. I think I'd be better off dropping it down a little bit more. Especially when I get the bigger steering wheel back in here, hopefully. You'd be tight squeezing under, so I think I'll cut another 1.5 inches or so off of here. Oh well. Check it out. Started out with this, what I thought would work, and so far I'm down to this. Quite a difference in heights. But trial and error, trial and error. Well, I started out making some seat mounts with the intention of making them a little fancy. In the end, they're actually pretty simple. But should get the job done. Now let's get this seat bolted in. Well, it's a very small milestone, but it's nice to actually have a seat mounted.
Great
I'm gonna pull
success.
this thing out and turn it around. Made a bootleg steering wheel puller. Found some old bolts. Worked pretty good. Hopefully it fits on the Crown Vic column. Well, this was a total bummer. I was hoping to use this bad boy, but not gonna work. Completely different. Darn it. I guess I'll go back to this great value Boyd Coddington piece of shit steering wheel. Damn. Oh well, put it back together, I guess. Didn't look too bad in the Crown Vic, if I'm being honest. But in here, just doesn't match the vibe. Same thing with this blue shift knob. Gotta do something about that. Oh well. I tried. Waiting on my seat cover to come in, so I figured I would cross some of the smaller stuff off my list, like painting this shift knob and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the gauge cluster. All right, sitting in the old Toyota on my lunch break here, editing down this video, And I came to the conclusion, I think I'm going to cut it right here. I trimmed a bunch of stuff out, like blending the paint, make it turn a match patina and stuff like that. I cut a bunch of just silly stuff out. But the video is still going to be like a half an hour long. And the truth is, I did a whole bunch of yakking in the beginning about stuff I hope to accomplish, like getting the gauge cluster done and the headlights in and the tail lights. And I did some of it. I did drive it kind of around the block. That was a goal of mine in the beginning of the video. I got the headlights in. I didn't get the gauge cluster done. I actually started filming some stuff for that. Started on it. Didn't make it very far. I was going to have that in this video, but this video is already too long, so I'm just going to cut this one here, save the gauge cluster stuff for the next video. Hopefully by then my seat cover comes in from China or Indonesia or wherever. It wasn't very expensive, so I'm not expecting the highest of quality, but my $0 budget on this truck, the stuff I've sold off from the truck to fund the truck, or from the Crown Vic, my budget's just about empty. Like, I don't have a whole lot of dollars left to put into the truck, and I'm trying to honestly do it for $0. So I'll break all that down at some point. But anyway, so next video I'm gonna start with the gauge cluster. I still got to do some paint and body work inside of the cab where those little steps were. Going to try to do the tail lights and stuff like that. So I'm just splitting these videos up instead of making an hour and 15-minute video, or like I said, cutting a whole bunch of work out to try to explain what I'm doing. I'd rather just make 2 half-hour long videos. And then, to be honest, I'm getting kind of tired of working on the truck, so I'm getting excited that it's nearing completion, but I want to work on some other stuff. So I'm trying to stay focused and trying to bust my ass working on it, because I know if I stop and start working on something else, I mean, I know me pretty well. It'll be a long time before I get back on the truck. So trying to get the truck done. Actually ordered some license plates for it, so that's cool. Trying to trick myself into focusing on it and actually driving it. So anyway, that's where I'm going to stop this one. So if you made it this far, you're a trooper. This one sucked. But thanks for watching. Check out the next one.